Hello everybody and welcome to today's webinar. In today's session, what we'll be doing is we'll be focusing on selecting the correct Yealink MTR solution for your meeting room kind of location or scenario. Now, before we do get started, the session today is being recorded and will be available after the webinar. Now, if you do have any questions throughout the webinar, please do shoot them through to the Q&A panel. I will get to them as quickly as possible. If I don't get to them throughout the presentation, then we will also have a Q&A session at the end of the event, which we can also allow you to come off mute and ask audio questions if you do want to do that as well. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Scott Young, and I am the Enterprise UC kind of technical and services specialist here at Leader Systems. And for those that do know me, you will probably know me from the Alloy days, and now here with the Leader Systems crew. All right. Okay, first of all, I just want to give everybody a bit of a rundown about Leader. So Leader have branches in 5 capital cities, headquartered in Adelaide, office and warehouse in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and WA. So that's warehouses in 5 of the major capital cities. We have over 40 local account managers. We have a full pre and post sales team. We have over 70 direct vendors in our product portfolio. Leader is also one of the #1 marketing distributors in Australia. They have a load of free marketing material on their website that you as partners can utilize and rebrand to send out to your customers. And we are definitely a national true value add distributor that gives you guys the supply and also the service that you require out of a distribution partner. Okay, now a little bit about Yealink. If you're not aware of Yealink, Yealink are the #1 IP phone vendor globally. You know, they have headquarters in China, so main headquarter in Xiamen in China. They've got R&D centers in Hangzhou and Shenzhen, and they've also got offices globally around the country in Australia, USA, a couple in the USA, London, and also in Europe as well. All right, so in terms of the relationship that Yealink have with Microsoft has really grown over the last kind of 6 to 8 years. First of all, starting in around 2015, they were one of the first, Yealink were the first kind of certified link phone provider by Microsoft. Back in the day, they also moved quickly into the SFB space as Link migrated or was rebranded as Skype for Business in 2017. Now, back then, those phones were all built off SIP-based devices that Yealink were already kind of big in the market. So it was quite an easy transition to move from that SIP-based product portfolio into a solution that was certified by Microsoft for Link and Skype for Business. Now, in 2018, when Microsoft first launched Microsoft Teams, Yealink were the first partner to have a solution for a Microsoft Teams phone device. Main reason for that, Microsoft wanted an Android-based solution in an IP phone where they could control and run their own Teams application. Now, Yealink had Android devices in the market for their SIP business for a long time. So it was, again, an easy transition for Yealink to adopt the Teams Android application on their phones and get it certified by Microsoft. In 2019, they released their first range of MTR devices, and then through the 2020s, they've grown stronger and stronger in that space and have now became a very strong player in that MTR space in both Windows and also Android. So at the moment, since 2014, Yealink are now the #1 provider of Microsoft Teams phones, and they're also the #1 fastest growing Teams room vendor. Microsoft and Yealink are also, Yealink is also a Microsoft Gold communications partner, and Microsoft and Yealink work very closely together in terms of building and specifying and speccing out equipment for Microsoft Teams. So they actually do joint engineering to release products that Microsoft see as being beneficial for future workforce. Okay, so just quickly, I want to just brush on some of the security kind of guarantees that Yealink have adopted with their products. Now, it does come up time to time, and depending on where the Yealink kit is being installed, security is it's the #1 factor for a lot of organisations. And that question does come up when we talk about a Chinese-based company. But Yealink guarantee their products. They guarantee the security of all of their products. And to show that, they have gone out and they've had independent testing done on all of their products. And they've done that based on a range of different kind of levels and also different providers to deliver that kind of security promise. As you can see from this slide, they've got company level security, GDPR and ISO kind of certified. At the product level, they've got Net SPI doing penetration tests on their devices. They're certified by Microsoft Teams. They're certified by Zoom. If Microsoft and Zoom are certifying these devices, then there has to be security behind it to back that up. Now, based on the supply chain as well, they've got using industry-leading chipsets in their devices, and they're also chosen by a lot of global brands as well, as you can see on this slide. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly run through the kind of complete overview of the Yealink product set for Microsoft Teams. As you can see from this slide, they have a solution for Microsoft Teams, whether it be an audio device, a headset device, a full room solution, a USB peripheral to connect to your existing device, and also kind of bolt-on devices for advanced meeting room solutions such as the room panel, room sensor, and the room cast as well. So they do have a wide breadth of devices for all Microsoft Teams solutions, and they actually are #1 when it comes to that one-stop shop for Teams devices. Okay, so what I'm going to do now here is just kind of explain a little bit about the Microsoft devices for Windows, what solutions they have, how they kind of all kind of piece together, and how you as partners can actually build your own solutions. Now, there is kits available, of course, that Yealink do provide, but we don't have to stick with those kits. Those kits are there as a as an easy kind of solution for different room sizes, but you can actually build on those kits or make your own kits as well. So at the core of the Windows-based solution, there's two devices. There's the M-Core, which is your PC that runs Windows 10 and now Windows 11 on a lot of devices, and also a touchscreen device. Now that Windows M-Core obviously runs the MTR application as well, and you've got that direct connection to the M-Touch panel as well. So that M-Touch panel is used to control the room system. Now we use that touch panel to not only control the meeting, but also use it to control the camera and devices that you have on your system as well. Now, after we have those two kind of core components, your PC and your touch panel, we can now add on different audio devices and different peripherals to kind of build out a solution for different room sizes. So on the left-hand side, we're starting on at the MVC 400 for your smaller room solutions. So this is an all-in-one device, the UVC 40. So we can add that UVC 40 to that base kit to provide a small room solution. We then move on to the medium room solutions, where we've got a couple of different kits. Now the kits really differ based on the audio devices and the camera devices. So depending on the room size and the capabilities that you require out of those cameras will depend on what kit you look at. So with the MVC 640 kit, we've got wireless solutions when it comes to microphones and content sharing, and we utilize the independent soundbar called the M speaker, and then we have our UVC 84 camera that we utilize that has 12 times optical zoom and also auto framing. Now, if we look at the MVC 660 kit, the main difference here is the camera, utilizing the UVC 86 camera rather than the UVC 84 camera. Now, the UVC 86 camera, which I'll go to in more detail shortly, it has higher end AI features and utilizes a dual lens solution as well. Now with the 660 kit, it also utilizes the M speaker as well. So the M speaker is an AI based speaker. And again, I'll run into more detail with that shortly as well. Then we move up to the larger room space where we've got the MVC 840 and the MVC 860 kit. As you can see from the images, very, very similar kits. Main difference between these two kits is that camera. So whether we need that base camera with low-end kind of basic AI features such as auto framing, or whether we need to go to that higher-end camera where we use speaker tracking and presenter tracking and stuff like that. And then what we've also got is the extra large room solution where we're utilizing a multi-camera solution. So again, we've got that MVC 960. We've also got an MVC 840 solution here as well. And again, that major difference is a camera type, and we can actually mix and match cameras in the MVC 9 solution. So we can actually use an MVC 84, sorry, a UVC 84 camera along with a UVC 86 camera, and we can mix and match that and actually enable or disable AI features on each individual camera. Now you'll notice with a lot of the MVC kits, they don't come with, sorry, the MVC 9XX kits, they don't come with audio devices. So it's allowing you to actually utilize high-end audio equipment that you might have in these extra large kind of room scenarios. Now, if you're going into an auditorium or a large training room, you might already have existing audio kit that you want to utilize. So Yealink have made that easy, and they've provided kits that don't provide that, any of the Yealink audio kit. But if you do want to utilize the Yealink audio kit, you can buy that as separate components. Okay, so that was the Windows-based solutions that we looked at just then. Now we'll move on to the Android-based solutions. Now, when we're talking about a Windows solution and an Android solution, the main difference that we have there is the Windows-based solution has a PC that runs Windows operating system, and the Teams Room application runs on that Windows operating system. Well, when we look at the Android-based solutions, they're an all-in-one device, and the actual Teams Room application is built into the device and it runs on Android. So that's your kind of the main differences there. And you'll find with the Android-based solutions, the Android-based solutions are always kind of an all-in-one solution, in an all-in-one bar where you've got the microphone, the speaker, and the camera all in one kit. Now, in terms of kind of the room sizes, the Android devices are normally the smaller kind of to medium room size devices. So we've got the A10, which is your huddle room solution, the A20, which is kind of your smaller room solution, and then the A30 being the medium room solution. Now, on top of those kind of all-in-one bar solutions, Yealink also have their meeting board. So the meeting board is kind of new to Yealink, and it's available in two different sizes, the 65-inch and the 86-inch. Now, again, this is an Android-based solution. So the operating system that is built into this meeting board is Android, and it runs the Android-based Microsoft Teams Room application. Now, with this meeting board, as I stated, it's an all-in-one device. So it's got its camera built in, its mics built in, and its speaker built in as well. Now, with this device, we can also run Windows on this device as well. So there's an extra OPS slot where we can actually install a Windows module. Now, when we do install the Windows module, it's not going to be running the MTR application on Windows. That Windows OPS module just allows you to run Windows on this device as well as Android, so you can switch between the operating systems. So the Windows side of it is to be used more as an interactive kind of display, whereas the Android part of the solution is built for that Microsoft Teams or Zoom operating system purely for the meeting requirements. Okay, so with the meeting board, there's actually quite a few different optional components that you can add on to the meeting board to allow you to use the meeting board not only in small rooms, but also expand it up to meeting room sizes as well. So we've got wireless expansion mics that we can add onto this device. We've got the touch console as well available, where we might want to have the meeting board at the front of the room, and we don't want to walk up to that meeting board when we're having a meeting to start the meeting or to mute mics and things like that. So we can control that meeting board from the table as well, but then also have the ability to walk up to the meeting board and use the whiteboard functionality and things like that when we need to. We've also got that room panel that we can pair to the device. The room panel is used for kind of meeting room reservation, being able to notify your staff members if the room is in use or it's available. We've got the room sensor, which is used for automation of kind of occupancy sensors and things like that. So being able to tell if there's anybody in the room, being able to also feedback information to the room panel for temperature and humidity. Now, what we can also do with the meeting board is we can actually add an additional PTZ camera as well, because a built-in camera on the meeting board is purely a digital zoom device, whereas we can add on the pan tilt zoom optical 6x camera as well to this device, and there is a 12x optical zoom camera coming very soon as well. Now, another great addition to this solution is the ability to be able to actually join two meeting boards together. So there's a second meeting board available that is kind of a dumbed down version of the device where it doesn't have the operating system built in and is purely used as an additional monitor for the primary device running the Android application and the Teams Room application as well. And when we do join those two devices together, we are actually utilizing the mics from both devices, the speakers from both devices as well. Okay, so just want to give you a quick heads up. I didn't update all of the devices in the slide yet because I didn't want to kind of move too quickly with that, but we do have new generation MTR devices coming from Yealink very, very soon. As you can see from the images, we've got new colors. So a lot of the cameras now are changing to black. We've got a new M-Core device. We've got a new touch panel, a larger touch panel. So it's a 10 or 11-inch touch panel rather than the 8-inch touch panel. So there's quite a few new peripherals coming out from Yealink very, very soon. And then down the bottom, we've also got that 360-degree camera that will be available kind of in the next 3 months or so as well. So that's going to be a game changer for that kind of center of room or center of table solution, where not only we've got the speaker and mic, we've also got that 360-degree camera as well. All right, so now that we've kind of gone through the Yealink kit and we're kind of understanding the Windows-based solutions, the Android-based solutions, Android-based solutions being more for the smaller to medium rooms, size meeting rooms, and then moving to the Windows-based solutions for larger rooms. What I want to do now is kind of just run through what do we need when we're building an MTR room? Like when we're building a meeting room or we're adding video conferencing to an existing meeting room, what do we need to do? What do we need to look for when we're deciding what device to use? What do we need to do on the back end in Teams? Is there certain licenses? Is there certain types of users that we need to create to run a meeting room device? So starting at the license level for the rooms. So there's two different room licenses available. There's the basic and the pro. So the basic license is a free license that you can get from Microsoft, and every Microsoft tenant will have a minimum of 5 basic licenses available for free to utilize on your Teams room devices. And then you've also got the paid version, which is the pro version. So with the pro version, there is more functionality available. There's more features that get unlocked in the MTR, but there's also a whole bunch of management features from the Teams admin center that you can also utilize if you're using a pro license. Now, some kind of considerations to look at when we're deciding whether we should use basic license, should we use a pro license? These are some of the questions you need to ask your customers. Okay, so are you going to be using a scheduling panel? Do you have a scheduling panel outside of your room that is paired to your MTR device to alert your customers whether the room is in use or available, or whether you want to be able to allow your staff to walk up to the room and kind of start an ad hoc meeting and book a room ad hoc? If you do want to use that scheduling panel and you do want to pair it to your MTR device, you will need the pro license. Now, are you using a traditional whiteboard in your meeting room? Are you still using that whiteboard with your pens and then being able to take notes, and you want to be able to include that whiteboard session into your meeting? If you want to do that, there are capabilities available on both Windows and Android MTR devices to allow you to use a content camera. Now, that content camera enables what Microsoft call the magic whiteboard feature. This allows you to have a camera that is directed purely at your whiteboard. Now, when you're writing on that whiteboard, the camera itself has AI functionality that allows the camera and the room system to be able to actually see the writing behind the person that's standing in front of the whiteboard. Now, it's kind of a little bit hard to explain without seeing it, but basically what it does is it makes the person opaque and allows the writing to be able to see through the person. So basically the camera has to learn what's on the whiteboard first, and then if a person stands in front of that writing, it will actually appear in front of the person. Now, when we come to the meeting engagement options, how do you want to engage with your customers in that meeting? Do we want to be able to use dual screens? Do we want to be able to use front row? Now, when we're utilizing larger meeting room spaces and we want to use dual screens. We want to have one screen for the video participants and the second screen for our content share. If we want to do that, we need to use the pro license. Also, do we want to use intelligent audio and video features? Do we want to use Yealink's M-Speech to be able to transcribe the meeting? Do we want to use the M-Speech to be able to learn who the participants in the meeting are and provide a transcription at the end down to the detail of who said what in that meeting? If we want to utilize those features, again, we need to use that pro license. So what it comes down to really, when we're choosing between a basic and a pro license, if it's a small kind of huddle room solution, you can probably get away with the basic room license. Anything above that, you really do need to go for that pro license. The basic license, I think, is great to do your testing, make sure that the Teams room solution is what you're looking for in your organization, and then move to that pro license once you've decided, or you've decided to move forward with that Teams room solution. Okay, so just going back now quickly to the Windows and Android kind of discussion. Should we use Windows? Should we use Android? Back in the day, the Android devices were very basic. There was only single screen support. There was only 720p resolution. There was no content share. So back in the day, there was a big difference and a big feature parity between an Android device and a Windows device. That has all changed now. Android devices have now got the same features as a Windows-based device. The main difference that we have now is the room size. Making sure that we're utilizing the correct device for that room size. Huddle space, small, medium-sized rooms can be, you can get away with an Android-based device for those room sizes. Anything larger, you need to move to Windows. Okay, one of the major things that we're seeing at the moment as a kind of differentiator between Windows and Android is that room control. Do you need room control? Do you need room automation into your MTR solution in your meeting room space? If the answer is yes, you need to use Windows at this point in time. So on the Yealink MTR devices, there are APIs available for you to integrate control capability onto the M-Touch panel. This allows you to have a single touchscreen panel to control your meeting and control your room. Now, we do obviously need to use a third-party control system because Yealink don't supply that, but we have integration with QSys, with AMX, with Extron. So the leading vendors for room automation and control are supported by the Yealink systems. That is only available on Windows at the moment. Now, another thing to kind of consider is company policy. Does the company you're looking at installing these devices in have a policy against Android? Is there security restrictions on what type of device you can use on that organization, what you can plug into the corporate network? So that's also something that you need to kind of think of when we are deciding whether it's Windows or whether it's Android. All right, now we're going to look deeper into the room kind of design, what we need to look at when we're choosing the right camera, when we're choosing the right audio, making sure that the room is set up to have that optimal video conferencing experience. Now, when we're deciding what camera we want to use, we need to look at the room layout. As you can see from the two images on the screen, we have a long boardroom table where the camera is at the short edge of that table. And on the second screen, we have a wider table where the camera is actually on the wide side of that table. Now, depending on the solution or the kind of installation or physical installation of that camera will determine what the best camera type is. If you have the camera on the short edge of a long table, you need to make sure the camera has a narrower field of view. The narrower the field of view, the better quality of image you're going to have from a longer distance. If you have a camera mounted on the long edge of the table and the table is quite close to the camera, we need to have a camera with a wide field of view. So there's two examples here on this screen. So we can see the UVC86 or the UVC84. It's an optical zoom camera and it has a lens that has a narrower field of view. So that's why that camera is more suitable for that kind of larger room installs where we've got those longer boardroom tables. If we look at the bottom image, we're looking at the UVC40. It has digital zoom. it has a wide field of view, up to 110-degree field of view. So it's going to allow the table to be up close, but it's still going to pick up all of the people on that long edge of the table. Now, another big decision or a big specification that kind of comes into play is also optical zoom. Do we need to actually have the camera zooming in on people? Do we need to have the camera zooming in on a product? Are we doing a product demonstration? We need to have that camera zooming in directly on that product. If we do, again, we need to look at that optical zoom-based camera. All right, so with the camera options, and we're talking about Android on this slide here. So most of the cameras in these devices are all 4K or at least 20 megapixel on the lenses. Now, each of the Android-based solutions, because they are digital zoom-based lenses, they do have that wide field of view. So as you can see, the A10, the A20, A30 all have 120-degree field of view on that digital zoom lens. Now with the A30, there is an exemption because it does have that second lens as well, which does have an 3 times or 3.5 times optical zoom lens on the A30 as well. Now when it comes down to the AI features, the A10, A20, A30 all have identical kind of AI features available. So they can do the auto framing, we can do the speaker tracking, we can do picture-in-picture. So all those AI features are available throughout this entire product range. Moving to the cameras that we utilize for the Windows-based solutions. Now the UVC 30 camera is mainly used now for the content camera. It was available in a lot of the kits earlier in the days in the MVC 3XX kits. That's kind of now been phased out. We've moved more to the UVC 40 or the MVC 400 solutions for that lower end or smaller room solution, where the UVC 30 is used for that content camera. Now the UVC 30 4K 120-degree field of view also supports auto framing, but like I said, typically used now as a content camera more than an in-room, in-meeting camera. For the UVC 40, 20 megapixel, 8 times digital zoom, and a massive 133-degree field of view. So this is great for those smaller rooms where the table is the long edge of the table is kind of on the side of where the camera is mounted, or it might just be a small room and the table is close up to that camera. So we need to have that wider field of view. Again, AI features are there, auto framing and speaker tracking. Now the UVC 84 is kind of the first camera in the range with that optical zoom capability. So 12 times optical zoom, 4K camera, and 80-degree field of view. So again, going back to that first kind of slide when we're looking at the cameras, more of a solution where the camera is mounted on the short edge of the table and we need to have those optical zoom capabilities. Okay, the latest and greatest camera from Yealink is a UVC 86. Now this is the most popular camera on the market. We are even seeing other vendors or customers utilizing and pushing out other vendors' actual PCs and control panels, but adding on this Yealink camera because it is fantastic. Dual lens like the A30, the optical zoom camera, the optical zoom lens, 12 times optical zoom, 4K camera, and 90-degree field of view. The secondary camera down in the base of the unit, 4K and 120-degree field of view. Now, one of the great things about this camera is not only can we do auto framing and speaker tracking, but we also have AI features such as presenter tracking, picture-in-picture. We can utilize both lenses in a picture-in-picture mode where we can use the digital zoom camera, so the camera down the bottom of the base, to actually pick up the entire meeting room. and then use that optical zoom camera for speaker tracking so we can pinpoint directly on the person that is speaking. Another thing that this camera has is support for people feed. So being able to also kind of tell how many people are in the room and relaying that information back to a room panel on the front of the, or on the outside of that meeting room space. Okay, so we've looked at the cameras, we've looked at kind of the different options for cameras, when to use one camera type over another. Now we'll have a look at the audio devices that are available from Yealink. We've got a lot of different options from Yealink. So we've got the corded tabletop mic, the VCM34. There is a new model coming as well, which I'll share a little bit later on. We have the VCM38 ceiling mic. We have wireless DECT-based mics. New version of this coming available or coming very soon as well, which I'll share very soon. And then we've also got another wireless type, which is a Wi-Fi based wireless mic. So we've got two different wireless mics available built on different technologies. So we've got DECT-based wireless mics and we've got Wi-Fi based wireless mics. Now, why use one over the other? It really depends on the customer and kind of how much Wi-Fi interference they may have in their office. If they do have a lot of Wi-Fi interference, sometimes Wi-Fi may not be the best option. You know, they might have a lot of Bluetooth devices as well running on the same frequency at 2.4 gigahertz frequency. Now, if there's a lot of kind of interference of Wi-Fi on those frequency bands, then maybe DECT is a better option. Remember, DECT was built for audio. DECT has been around for many, many years in the telephony space. Yealink has been building DECT products from the early 2010s. They know DECT, and these mics are fantastic and one of the most popular mics on the market. Another thing we need to work on when we're deciding what mic device we want to use is the room solution itself, or the room setup. Do we want to have cables strung across the boardroom table for those wire-based mics? Is the room, the material in the room, glass and things like that, where ceiling mics may not work that well? Do we want a nice clean desk? Do we go for those wireless mics because the customer does not want to have anything kind of wired onto the table? So lots of different kind of use cases and reasons why we might use one mic over another. And then we've also got that pickup range as well. So that pickup range is another, big point to look at when we're selecting what mic we want to use. Okay, looking at the speakers now from Yealink, there's only two options. We've got the soundbar, which is a dedicated Yealink soundbar for the Windows-based MTR solutions, and then we've got the M-Speech speakerphone, which is actually a mic and speaker all in one device. And this is your kind of AI-based speaker that supports your transcribing and things like that. So if you have a customer or a smaller room where they like to have that mic and speaker in the center of the boardroom table, then the M-Speech is the way to go there. If they prefer to have the speaker at front of room and have wireless mics or cabled mics or even ceiling mics, that's when we go for that Yealink soundbar. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly highlight the flexibility and the ease of installation of the audio options from Yealink. Now, as we can see from this diagram, we've got a camera that connects to our MCore via USB. Once we have that USB connection from the camera to the MCore, all of our audio peripherals will connect via that camera. The camera has the smarts built in it for the audio. So it has built-in echo cancellation, AEC, stuff like that, that handles the audio and the reverb and things like that in the room. So once we connect that camera to the MCore via USB, we can then connect all of our audio peripherals to that camera via Ethernet. Now, Yealink are one of the few that have Ethernet connected audio peripherals. Now, I know there's lots out there on the market that use Dante and things like that that are quite high end, but for a budget kind of solution that, you know, they don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars per microphone, Yealink have a terrific solution that's easy to install. So again, we've got these different mic types. So the CPW65, that's going to replace or going to sit side by side for the time being with the CPW90s. We've got the VCM36-W, which is that Wi-Fi mic. We've got our VCM34 tabletop mics. We've got our VCM38 ceiling mics. We've got our M speaker. As you can see, all of these Ethernet connected into a standard PoE switch. So it's very, very flexible. Now, what we can also do is we can actually build on the kits that we might have from Yealink, and we can add additional microphones. We can have up to 4 of the VCM36Ws. We can have 4 of the CPW90s. We can have up to 6 of the VCM34s. We can have up to 8 of the VCM38s, and we can have up to 4 of the M speakers. Now, one thing that we need to keep into consideration is we can't mix and match mic types. So when we select a mic solution for a room, for example, we go with VCM38s, we can't add wireless mics as well. It's a single mic type per installation. Now, as we can see on the right-hand side of this slide, we can also integrate third-party audio devices via a DSP into these solutions as well. We can have that USB connection come from the camera. So the DSP device itself can connect via USB into the camera, or we can have that DSP connecting directly to the M core. One of the major advantages of connecting the DSP to the audio is that if you want to add on BYOD support in your meeting room spaces, if you have the DSP connected directly to the M core, when you enable BIOD, you will not have any audio support. There would need to be a secondary connection from the DSP to the PC you're using for that BIOD connection. The major advantage of having it connected to the camera is that when we create that BIOD connection to our infrastructure, we can actually utilize not only the camera from Yealink, but also the third-party audio from, you know, one of our certified solutions, Biamp or QSC. We can add that and utilize that in a BIOD solution as well. Okay, so this is kind of the upgrade path that I was talking about earlier on. So the VCM34 will be EOL'd very shortly. It is going to be replaced by the VCM35. So the look and feel is going to be like the VCM36W, but it's going to have a cable connection. Now, when we are looking at speccing out solutions, one thing with the VCM34, this device was able to be connected together or cascaded. So you were able to actually run an in and out cable from a VCM34 and connect up to 4 VCM34s together before needing to run a secondary cable. However, with the VCM35, this is all a star-based configuration. It needs to have an individual cable back to your PoE switch. So we still have that support for up to 6 microphones, but you need to run 6 individual cables to each mic, and it has to go into a PoE switch and then back to your camera. Now the wireless mics, so we've got those CPW90s at the moment. We've also got the CPW65, which will eventually replace the CPW90s. And then we've also got the VCM36-W. Now there's been a bit of a hardware change on the VCM36-W. Some of you guys that have used these kits before, you might notice that the charging cradle has now changed. So the charging cradle used to be kind of a dish type setup where the wireless mic would sit in that dish and charge. Now we have a flat surface, and not only can we actually charge the mics on this new charging cradle, but we can actually charge our mobile phones as well. So it's a standard QI wireless charger as well. All right, going back to that third-party audio options, we've got a lot of different audio vendors that are now supported by Yealink to be able to connect their DSPs and things to a Windows-based MTR kit and utilize existing ceiling mics or tabletop mics, or it might be lapel mics and things like that. So if we need to go outside the spec of what Yealink can provide for our audio solutions, we do have that support via DSP for third-party microphones and speakers, etc. Okay, so when we're kind of looking at a room, we've decided, what kind of audio device, what camera would we think we need in the room. We're still umming and ahhing about what mic type we want to use, but we're almost there. One thing that we need to kind of make sure we're across is the material in the room. I did speak about this earlier on briefly. The material of the walls and the floors and the ceilings play a major part on how the audio is going to sound, not only in the room, but also to those remote participants. We don't want to be creating echo. Some meeting rooms you go into and you'll just talk in the room without even having any VC equipment in there, and there's already an echo in the room. We need to make sure we get rid of that echo. If that room is quite echoey, we need to do what we can to, put in soundproofing and things like that into the room. Put in more material, put pictures up on the walls, do whatever you can to actually minimize the reverb or the echo in the room. Now, having glass walls is, one of the worst things you can have in a meeting room space for audio, but they look great and people are moving more and more to these glass rooms, but it is horrible for an audio solution. Now, of course, there are mics out there on the market that cost thousands and thousands of dollars that will actually eliminate that reverb automatically, and you can use those ceiling-based mics in rooms that are full of glass. But if you are using a lower end mic, ceiling mics are probably not the best solution when you have got rooms that are quite echoey. You're better off going for a tabletop mic. Now, can we run cables from front of room to the table? When we're building and speccing out our meeting room spaces, there's going to be a controller somewhere. That MTouch or the CDP18 for our Android devices needs to be somewhere in the meeting room to be able to control that meeting. Where is it normally placed? On the boardroom table. It's the primary location for that control panel, because that's where everyone is and everyone has access to control the meeting or control the camera or control the room from that device. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be on the table. We need to make sure we can run cables from front of room to the table, because that MTouch panel, especially on the Windows-based solution, needs to connect to our M-Core. Where is the M-Core mounted 9 times out of 10? It's mounted behind the display. So we need to make sure that we can run cables throughout the room. And again, it comes down to mic choice as well. Now, if we're going to run cabled microphones, we need to be able to run cables from the front of room to the boardroom table. Where are you going to mount all these components? Where's the camera being mounted? Where are the speakers being mounted? How high do we need to mount the camera? All of this needs to be considered. We need to make sure that there's a space at the front of the room, especially if we are mounting TVs onto the wall and dual screens onto the wall. We need to make sure there's a location for that camera. The camera should be around about 1.2 meters high. It needs to be at eye level for the people sitting around the boardroom table. When we're also speccing out a room, does the room already have existing audio? They might already have speakers in the ceiling that they want to utilize. Do they have an amplifier sitting in the corner that they actually want to connect to the Yealink kit? Do they want to use that audio, those speakers, but they want to use Yealink mics? It's all possible, we can do it, but we just need to make sure what they have in that room and what they want to keep using. Again, what I said before, 1 or 2 displays. We need to know. We need to know how many displays they want to utilize. It just means that where we place the speakers, where we place the camera, is considered based on that choice of 1 or 2 displays. All right. Now, when we're talking about Yealink kits and we're talking about different room types, more and more conversations are coming up about divisible room solutions. A lot of organizations have a room that actually utilize in two different kind of use cases. They have a room, or they might have two separate rooms that are two small meeting rooms, but there's a wall in the middle that's actually removable, and they want to make that room a larger space for certain meetings. Yealink now have a solution for that. They call it divisible room. It allows you to utilize two Yealink room kits, utilizing the AV hub that is included with any of the MVC 9 series or available to purchase individually. When we enable that divisible room feature in the Yealink Room Connect software or via the touch panel on the Yealink kit, what it basically does is it allows you to utilize the cameras and the mics and the speakers of the secondary MVC kit. So for example, we have one room, it has a single camera, it has two ceiling mics, and it has two speakers. We have a second room next to it, has exactly the same kit. So it has a single camera, it has two ceiling mics and two speakers. When we put this room into, or we join these rooms together, what's going to happen is it's going to allow us to utilize two cameras. It's going to allow us to use 4 ceiling mics and up to 4 speakers. So it's basically adding those peripherals to the primary MTR device and allowing you to use all of those audio devices and camera devices. Now, when we do look at implementing a solution like this, we need to make sure that we stick to those boundaries of what we can and can't do with Yealink audio devices. For example, maximum of 8 ceiling mics, maximum of 4 M speakers, a maximum of 9 cameras. So those considerations need to be taken into place when we are speccing out these rooms. Okay, earlier on, I also spoke about room control. Being able to integrate our Yealink MTR devices into third-party control applications. AMX, very popular. QSC, popular. Extron, also extremely popular. These are the 3 key control based manufacturers out there on the market, except for the big one called that starts with C. But Yealink are also working on integrating with them as well. So that's taking a lot longer than it did with these 3, but there is works in the midst to have integration with Crestron as well. Now, when we do add control integration into our room, what it basically does is it adds an additional flip page on our touch panel. So on our touch panel, we use that to control the meeting. There's also a camera control section where we can enable and disable AI features for the camera. We can, if we are disabled those AI features, we can also pan, tilt, zoom, control the camera from there. If it's a multi-camera solution, we can change the display layout. We can choose, we can select from 1 camera all the way up to 9 cameras if that's what we have added in our kit. So not only do we have that camera control, if we integrate with third party, we also have the ability to add room control. Now that room control is added via a HTML5 configuration page that is set up in the AMX QSys or Extron controller software. So once we can configure that, we then paste that link into our Yealink Room Connect software, which then presents you on the touch panel with that room control flip page. So from there, we can then add the room control. We can change inputs on the TV, we can control light, we can control the audio, all those different things that we can control from our, a standard Extron or AMX or QSys controller. We can now remove the need to have a secondary control panel on the wall, and we can deliver that solution all from the Yealink M-Touch control panel. All right, so just quickly, I've just chucked in a few slides here with kind of some cabling kind of options for smaller base solutions all up to large solutions. So we can see here on this slide, it's very similar between the MVC 400 and the A20. Obviously, the A20 won't have that PC down on the shelf, but with the MVC 400, we've got that single USB connection from the M core to our UVC 40, and then we've got our Ethernet connection to the control panel on the room. Sorry, on the boardroom table. With the A20, very, very similar solution that we could do minus the PC. Okay, moving up to the medium-sized room, the ideal kit for a medium-sized room would be the 640, the 660, or the A30 Android-based solution. Again, the camera at the front of the room, we've got the PC behind the TV or the display, we've got our M speaker up at the front of the room, and we're utilizing our wireless kits, our wireless mic kits on the boardroom table, and then we've got our touch panel on the boardroom table as well. So a very flexible, clean solution for those medium room solutions. We then move to a larger room solution where we, the perfect kind of solution for this is the MVC 840 or the MVC 860, depending on those AI features. So in this example, again, we've got that UVC 84 or the 86 camera at the front. We've got that M speaker bar at the front of the room as well. The PC again, or the M core, is mounted behind the display. And then in this example, we're utilizing the VCM34 microphones. So there would be an Ethernet cable run from the camera across to the boardroom table to connect those VCM34 mics. And there'd also be a second Ethernet cable run to the center of that boardroom table for the M Touch as well. Then we move to our extra large solutions. As we can see from this kind of diagram, there's bits and pieces everywhere. So we've got 6 ceiling mics on top of the ceiling. These are all wired back to a PoE switch that would then connect back to our AV hub. Normally the AV hub again would be either installed behind the display or in a cupboard nearby. We've got our cameras mounted. As you can see, there's multiple cameras there. We've got 2 cameras at the front. We've got a camera on the side as well. We've got 4 speakers set up there as well. So 2 at the front and 1 on each side wall as well. There's lots of different flexible ways to kind of position cameras and mics and speakers based on the setup of that room. Okay, just quickly, also we have the Yealink Room Configurator. So the Yealink Room Configurator is an easy way for you guys to actually jump online, go to the Yealink website and build or find the devices that are going to fit the solution that you're looking for. So based on the Yealink Room Configurator, you can select whether you're going to be using Zoom, Microsoft, or a wired solution. You can select the room size, and then we can also select what solution is going to be best for that room size. If you haven't used it already, go and check out that Yealink Room Configurator. All right, guys, quickly, I know I'm running out of time here. I'll quickly go over some of the AI features that are kind of new to the Yealink kits. They've built in and paired and kind of partnered with Shure mics to be able to use AI technology to be able to pinpoint and track speakers based on mic arrays that are built into the Shure mics. So we can have up to, in this example, there's 8 different seats, there's 8 mics built in, and presets can be pre-configured on your cameras so that when a mic on the Shure mic picks up a particular speaker from a configured mic, it will tell the camera to use a particular preset. So that is all available now, thanks to Shure and Yealink. A few more AI features that we have now as well. With the MVC 960 kits, we also have multi-speaker tracking as well. This allows multiple cameras to be able to utilize to actually pinpoint and track speakers in the room. There's a couple of different setups for this. On this example here, you can see that it's a kind of a wide angle setup, but we also have a setup for a table that has a short edge to the front of the room as well. All right, guys, I know that I did run right on time actually. All right, guys, so I know there was a lot kind of to get through there. Do you guys have any questions is there anything that I can help you with right now? If you do have any questions, please shoot them through on the Q&A panel, and I'll get to them right now.